There's a purpose for everybody, and everybody's got a destiny. I think if you can find peace in something and find something you're passionate about, there ain't nothing going to stop you from doing it.
How many high school carpentry instructors do you know who have built their own house with their bare hands using logs from the early 1800s? I only know one. He's today's guest. Let's find out who it is. Let's get into the episode, guys. Welcome to Me and Poverty, a podcast about breaking barriers, building bridges, and changing lives. Today's guest is Jared Goforth. Jared is a proud Appalachian from Eastern Kentucky with a YouTube channel that has amassed over 2.5 million views. Jared and his family strive to live a wholesome, simple life, including building his own cabin by repurposing logs from the early 1800s and farming the majority of his own food, all while serving as a carpentry instructor at the local high school in hopes of inspiring the next generation to use their hands to make a living in a nearly forgotten trade. Jared, welcome to the show, my friend.
Howdy.
And I know we had a few technical difficulties here at the start, but it is good to have you on.
It's good to be here with you.
I want to get right into today's episode. I'm not going to waste any time. Buddy, why in the world do you have a YouTube channel with 2.5 million views?
Well, it started out about 8 years ago. I was always watching YouTube videos of everybody doing this and that. And I said, I always liked home movies, you know, when your mom or grandma would follow you around with the camera when you was a kid. And I said, it'd be cool if I could video some of the stuff I do, and then my kids be able to go back, you know, when I'm dead and gone and be able to watch it and kind of relive some stuff. I always wish I could go back and watch like my great-grandparents do things on the farm. I could have learned how they done it. So it kind of inspired me to pick up a torch and, you know, be able to pass it on someday.
That is really cool. I'll say I have almost zero footage of me as a kid. And I hate that, right? Like, big part of everything I do nowadays is I want to try to leave a legacy.
Yeah.
And especially for my son. So I wish I had a lot of footage to give back to him. My grandmother has a couple of those like wallet size proofs from school. We're the same age, and you probably know what I'm talking about. Total side note here. Growing up, every picture day, I dreaded it so bad. The reason being is they would hand you your little envelope for picture day and you give it to the photographer, right?
Yeah.
Well, on those, it actually states your last name, then your first name. Man, I got bullied a lot for little Joseph. I was like, come on, man. Like, anyway, that's total side note. I usually open up almost every episode with one simple question. And that is, what is your relationship with poverty? Do you have a relationship with poverty?
Well, luckily, you know, when I was growing up, my dad always kept a good job in the coal mine. So I don't think I was ever poor, but I mean, we wasn't rich, but I was around it my whole life. And actually, I didn't realize it till I was a grown up, really, that I had people live one house above me up the creek. Their driveway was actually a creek, and you drove about a quarter mile up the creek, and there was an elderly couple lived there, and they didn't have no running water, didn't even live in their house. They slept in their truck. And I guess where I grew up around them so much, I didn't even realize that ain't normal.
I'll be honest, I don't even blink an eye when you say that someone's driveway, you have to go through a creek to get to it. Because I've done that hundreds of times.
Yeah.
And when it rains, you literally cannot get out, right?
Nope.
Like that, but that's just our way of life in Appalachia. Oftentimes, we don't think anything of it. We adjust, and
that's just how it is. You think?
Yeah. So that I can definitely respect that. Thankfully, I had running water and that sort of thing. But being from Meat House, there were a lot of people that didn't, and
right.
I know we didn't have blacktopped roads well into me being a teenager. And we would go to our church pastor, he had a big gathering every year at the head of Meat House, and they'd have like a bunch of bluegrass music. And I remember vividly that being a dirt, eventually gravel. We were excited to get gravel up there.
Yeah.
Right. I don't know if you're familiar with the area of Meat House that well, but there's an old mine up there and that sort of thing too. You talking about a coal miner as a father. That is just the way of life for us. And I'll be honest, I've got a story to tell you, just a brief one here. So I was about maybe 7 years old. My appendix was about to rupture. And I lived up Meat House, and man, the nearest hospital is ways away, right?
You're 45 minutes from mine now, so.
Yeah, it was pretty painful. And I didn't know what was going on, but my grandmother finally realized that's probably what it was. And of course, she didn't have a driver's license and she didn't have a vehicle to take me anywhere. My grandfather was out herbing, he was ginsenging, trying to just provide. And we were like trying to call anybody and their cousin to come get me and take me out. Well, we finally found somebody, but man, all the potholes from the coal trucks and the dirt road and gravel, it was miserable, man, the whole way. Went on a little bit of a tangent there, but Jared, why do you think your number one video for your channel has over 700,000 views and it's making biscuits and gravy?
Yeah.
Why do you think you've gotten over 700,000 views on that?
Everybody loves to eat. And in Appalachia, eating is our number one. If we don't do anything, we're going to eat good.
Amen. Amen, buddy.
Yeah, and I think everybody just wants to be able to have a good, wholesome country meal, I guess. And that video, when we made it, it ain't a real good video. It didn't. I didn't know what I was doing much, and we put it out, and it didn't really take off for over a year. But we've had a lot of good hits on that, and I get comments all the time saying, that's how my grandma made biscuits, or, that's how I learned to make biscuits watching you.
Yeah, me being newer to YouTube, to making videos, I hear your baby boy screaming in it, wanting to see his chicken.
Everybody's telling me, why don't you shut up and let her do it? Because I'm standing over her video, and I'm saying, do this, or I'll do this, or whatever. I just didn't know better.
Sure. You were, and so it's like you broke almost every quote unquote rule, and it's perfect. It's a great video, man.
Yeah, it's just
genuine. I'll be honest with you. So, Jared, when you mentioned wanting to kind of make home videos, I think that's the perfect picture of that. And
and that's kind of with all my videos. I don't try to make them like a movie perfect. I'll edit them and put a little music here or there, but most time I just rather it be normal.
And that's the way it should be, right?
Because I'm not producing a show. I just share a little piece of my life with people.
Yeah, and there's a level of authenticity that I think is often missed on YouTube.
Yeah.
And buddy, you just ooze it, and it's phenomenal. I can definitely appreciate it.
And you are who you are, wherever you are. So
YouTube,
home, that's just you can't change yourself. Just be yourself.
I'm going to use that. Use that. That's a good one. So you end a lot of your videos, and you incorporate it as well. But even that biscuits and gravy video, you end it with "God bless." Yeah. Could you tell our audience today how important faith is to you, your family, and what role would you say it plays in your life? I have a good idea. I know you personally, but maybe for some of our audience that doesn't have a relationship with Jesus Christ like we do, what would you say to them?
I'd say faith is the number one thing that you got in this world, and nobody can take that away from you. You might not have no money, you might not have no house, but you can always have faith. And
that's right.
I always try to incorporate it in all my videos. On YouTube, you're kind of held back a little bit on how far you can go with it, but I still try to get the message out a little bit, and at least a lot of them I'll just say, have a blessed day. And that kind of might lift somebody's spirits up, or they might say, well, he's a believer. So I've had people reach out to me through email and stuff, and ask me questions and talk to me a little bit, and kind of sets the stage to people. If they got a question, they're going to come to you.
Yeah, that's awesome. And in a way, YouTube is kind of getting to be a ministry, right?
Oh yeah, big time.
So a lot of people, they talk about like good vibes and all that stuff, but no, I mean like just genuine, someone maybe having a bad day, and
Yeah,
by
I've had
you
a lot of
just
people
being,
reach out and say, "Hey, I'm dealing with this and this. Would you pray for me or put me on your church
yeah,
prayer chain?" And I had one man, he reached out to me and just
wow.
wanted prayers and somebody to talk back and forth with.
Yeah. See, that level of authenticity, being positive, and sharing, I call it being Jehovah sneaky.
Yeah,
So, give you an example. When I first got my undergrad degree, I went into child therapy. I worked at a crisis unit in Floyd County. When you work for a company like that, they try to tell you, hey, don't be biased toward one certain religion or anything
yeah,
like that. And I get why companies do that. There's a liability
right.
risk and all that, right? But so I had to find ways to be creative with sharing the gospel with these kids, right? Because a lot of these kids, man, they just needed somebody to love them and
Yeah,
show them the love of Christ and tell them about Jesus. So I had to be a little Jehovah sneaky
yeah,
with my approach. And you kind of got to do that on YouTube. That's what
yeah.
I'm learning, right?
Yep, and even on my followers, people that watch it, according to my YouTube statistics, a lot of them is older people and
Sure.
rural people. But still, you're gonna have some. Everybody on there ain't going to church every Sunday. So
Yeah.
I mean, if you sneak a little blessing in on them every now and then, you've done your job.
I love that. I love that. Would you have any advice for someone who, well, I'll be honest, you've already given me a lot of advice. What advice would you have for someone who wants to create their own YouTube channel?
I just jump in and do it. Be yourself and be consistent, and the rest will fall into place.
Yeah, and there's a phrase I keep hearing is there's riches in the niches. And I don't
Yeah.
I don't just mean, financially. There's people out there that want to know about a certain thing,
Yep.
or they've had a certain experience and it's led them, they consume it. So, example, I've been through poverty. I struggled with it my whole childhood. Parents abandoned me. My grandparents had a fixed income my entire life. We were raised pretty poor, a house full of about 10 to 12 people at all times in a
Yeah.
single wide trailer. I now have overcame that, but I still am working in that field. I want to help people overcome it. That's the whole point in the channel. If you're ready to dive deeper into my story, be sure to click the link in the description below. Get your copy pre-ordered today from Kickstarter. Thank you guys. Let's get back into the episode. So, there's riches in the niches. That was a big thing for me. And I appreciate you saying just start. People will often just sit around and overthink and
And if you
sure.
wait till you're ready, you think you're ready, and then you've already missed out on all the time that you could have already been doing it.
That's right. That's right. And I've had to learn that. I've had to kind of build the confidence and
Yeah,
overcome
if I'd
that,
have waited
right?
till I, had a new camera and had all these microphones and tripods and stuff, then I probably still wouldn't, because I record on my cell phone, and I
Yeah,
bought a $15 Amazon tripod to pack around, and
I
just
love it.
so you can do a lot with a little.
That's right. Here's a fun question. What is, and I'm completely ignorant on gardening. So, what would be your number one gardening tip to somebody?
Mm, keep out the weeds.
Keep out the
Yep,
weeds. Okay. I
yep. The
like
weeds
that
will
a lot.
overcome you, and then you'll be discouraged, and the weeds will be bigger than your plants, and then before you know it, that's all you got's weeds.
I'll be honest with you, Jared. It sounds like a sermon.
Yep. Oh,
It's
there's one in there. Sounds like.
I like it. I
Yeah.
like it a lot. You're gonna have to work with Lake and she'll help you iron that sucker out, man.
Yeah, she's better with words than I am.
I'm working to be a published author, and Lord willing, I will be here soon. Daisha was a published author. My wife, for the
Yeah.
audience, Daisha was a published author in high school,
Oh,
and
I didn't know that.
she's got a leg up on me.
She can give you some pointers then.
That's right. And so here's the other side to you that we haven't talked about yet. You're a carpentry instructor.
Yeah.
What's that like? Can you tell me a little bit about that? And
Well, it's kind of weird how I got to be a carpentry instructor. In high school, I took electricity classes, went to college to be an electrician, worked as an electrician for a little bit, and then I don't know if I just didn't like it or what the deal was, but I quit and said, I'm going to go work for myself. So I started doing carpentry and a little electric and started working for myself as a carpenter. I was at my last job, and while this carpentry instructor job came open, I said, man, that sounds. At first, I was kind of hesitant. I said, I don't think I could deal with them kids every day. I said, that's bound to be a headache. And I said, I'm going to go for it, though. Well, everything fell into place, and the Lord put me right in there. And everything I thought would be an obstacle, it was overcome, and everything was above and beyond what it should have been.
Oh man, that's knowing you personally. That's fantastic. I'm very happy to hear that. And I would imagine, I mean, I know you're newer to it, right? But
Yeah.
I would imagine God's probably already given you a few good opportunities to invest in some kids.
Oh, yeah, several times already. I've got 47 boys, and it's a lot of fun. There's sometimes that I'd like to go at it with a few of them, but
No
we have
doubt.
a lot of fun, and I got some really good kids there. And I wouldn't. This is the best job I ever had, and I wouldn't trade it for nothing.
Man, that's so awesome. I'm very glad to hear that.
You know,
And
we've been on snow days now for about a month, over a month since Christmas break, and
yeah.
I've been itching to get back to school. Really, I never thought I would say that, but I'm ready to go.
Yeah, I'll be honest, I didn't think about that. You have been off quite a bit. You combine the weather and Christmas break, you have been off.
Yeah, we went out the week before Christmas, and I've been back to the schoolhouse one time. You know, around here, you know, with the roads, all the mountains and curves we have, you can't really take a chance on driving a bus on them.
That makes total sense. Let me ask you this. The whole point in this YouTube channel and the podcast is to hopefully inspire someone to invest in at-risk youth. You know, those that are marginalized, they could really go either way.
Yeah,
They could overcome the poverty that they were born into, or they could fall to the wayside, unfortunately. Let's pretend a teacher like yourself, or a parent, or a coach, or a principal, or a counselor, they end up showing this video to an older teenager that is struggling. Maybe it's not like financial poverty. Maybe they're struggling trying to find out their purpose in life. They're a great student. What advice would you give that student?
for one, don't let nobody hold you back. A lot of kids, you know, they have a way in their mind to think that that's how everybody should go, and that it may not be the way that you're going to go. And, you know, there's a purpose for everybody, and everybody's got a destiny. I think if you can find peace in something and find something you're passionate about, there ain't nothing going to stop you from doing it. You just grab it by the horns and go with it, and find you somebody that'll, you know, encourage you and pick you up along the way and help you out a little bit if you need, you know, some motivational support.
That's great advice. And the only thing I would add to it is, and what I've told kids in the past is, our life, the Bible talks about it as just a vapor on the water, right?
Yeah,
One day here, the next day gone, essentially. So your life, average male is going to live, I think, roughly is about 79 years nowadays, something like that. Don't quote me, but so these kids are in school for roughly, 13-ish years of it.
yeah,
So these guys that are having such a huge influence on them right now, it's temporary.
yep,
And so I tried to encourage kids, look beyond this. That would be one thing I would maybe add is, one, this world is temporary and it's short, but the time that you're spending in school is even shorter compared to eternity. So we need to be making decisions that will affect way after school and then also eternity. So what do we mean by that? It's a salvation thing too,
yeah,
right? Similarly speaking, you're in that world with a bunch of teachers, and we had an episode the other day talking to another teacher, and I made the comment oftentimes, and it's true, I've met many of them, especially when I coached basketball. A lot of teachers are overworked and underpaid. That's a reality. It's unfortunate. There's not very many more important jobs than being a teacher. What would you say to your teacher friends? Maybe you know a teacher that has been underpaid and overworked for a very long time. And maybe they're kind of numb to the idea of really making a difference. They started out kind of on fire, similar to what Christians often do, right?
yep,
You start out, you're super excited. You want to tell everybody about Christ, but maybe you hit a few stumbling blocks. and then you kind of get into a lull. So what would you say to try to maybe inspire them? Maybe they'll see this, and
Yeah,
what would you say to them?
I'd say don't give up on yourself. And sometimes you need to look back at maybe all the years of students and the impacts you've made on their lives. And if you touch one kid's life and change their course of how they're going to turn out someday, then you've succeeded, and it's worth more than the money is. I know money makes things happen, but if you can help these kids out, you're impacting life after life after life for years to come. One impact with one child can change their outcome of their kids, and to me, that's worth more than any of the money is.
That's huge. And again, I genuinely hope a teacher or a coach or maybe a pastor or whoever sees this. And I hope that your story can be an encouragement to them. I know you are to me, and I'm not even in your space.
I appreciate that. Even with this job, as a teacher, I could probably, go to work for a good carpenters union and make a whole lot more money, but it wouldn't be as rewarding as working with these kids.
Yeah, yeah, that's for sure. And I had my youngest brother, he just graduated last year, and he's 12 years younger than me. His whole life said he wanted to go into carpentry. That dream kind of fell to the wayside as he got a little older in school and stuff. Do you feel like carpentry is, it doesn't sound like it honestly with how many kids that you have in your class, but do you feel like it's almost a forgotten trade? Do you feel like there's a demand for it?
Oh, yeah, there's a big demand for it. And people, when they think of carpentry class in high school, they think just learning to drive a nail or something, and don't take it serious. But there's tons of carpentry jobs out there, and a lot of these kids could go out of a class like mine with a little bit of a little bit of knowledge and a little bit of drive and want to learn more, and can go to these carpentry unions or some of these bigger construction companies and make really good money. Some of them, close to $100,000 with just very little training. And I always said too, like with my carpentry class, even though every kid in there ain't going to be a carpenter, and they may not want to be a carpenter, but everybody's going to have a house someday to live in. And everybody needs to know how to do a few little things. If whether it's hang a picture on the wall, we're going to be working on a little bit of even plumbing and basic, drywall repair.
Yeah,
And
that's huge.
everybody needs to know how to use their hands a little bit.
Yeah, and I'll be honest, I didn't take carpentry, and I wish I would have. Being a homeowner now, I pay the price.
Oh yeah, it's handy.
I've had to call you a couple of
Yeah.
times even. Can you go into detail about you building your own stinking house?
Oh
Like,
yeah.
can we talk about that for just a minute?
Well, when me and Lincoln first got married, I always wanted a log cabin. So this cabin, you can see the walls here behind me. Um, this was actually on Milo, by the Horns gas station there. This man, it was for sale, and he sold it to some log cabin company. They never did come and get it. So I come back to him. I said, I'd still be interested in buying it. So we struck up a deal, and I bought this old cabin. And at that time, I really didn't know much about carpentry work. I could build a few things, and I've always been kind of hard headed that I can do it and will do it. So I jumped in, and we got it, and didn't have hardly two nickels to rub together, and we got married. So didn't really have the money to build a house, but I started building on this thing, and little by little, we got it put together and built onto it, and made it big enough for our family. And we was living in a little 50-foot trailer with five of us in it, so we was busting out at the seams. So had to get the cabin done pretty quick. So sadly, I'm still working on it for Lakin though, doing the details and finishing things out. But it's been a labor of love. And looking back, if I could go back now, there's probably a lot of things I would change because I've matured and learned a whole lot since we started it. But it's been fun, and that's something I'll be proud of someday. My kids can look and say, "Well, my dad and then my grandpa built that house," and that's kind of a nice thought.
It's a huge thing, right?
And little Finley tells everybody that my dad built this house.
Yes. I love it. I love it. That's awesome.
And I had help
And
too. All my family would help me. My grandpa would jump in, help my dad, and my father-in-law, my neighbor. Well, they'd come up here and help me work on the weekends. And so it's got a lot of love in it. It's got a lot of stuff that I've messed up, of course, with learning. But you got to learn somewhere. I wish I had documented the whole build of it. but
You
I didn't
did
really.
the tear down, right?
Oh yeah, I wish I'd have videoed every step of tearing it down and putting it back. And at that time, I just I don't know why I didn't. I took some good pictures back then, but I didn't have no. When I tore it down, I didn't have much video and stuff at all
I
of it.
thought you did. Am
I
I
done the
imagining
barn.
that?
I rebuilt a barn too, and
Oh no, that's what. Yeah,
yep,
that's what I'm thinking of.
down by Kurt. It was
Yeah,
Kurt Judy's niece, I think I bought it from, and I videoed all of it, tearing it down, putting it back, and
yeah. So, what's your latest project for the farm?
well, we've been working now. I've been the barn I bought from down by Kurt's. I've been kind of boxing it in and making me a little workshop and place to put my tools and my tractor and kind of fix things and build things because I get into some little woodworking projects for people and stuff. So just a little place to work.
Is it bad? I was secretly hoping you were going to do this interview sitting in your barn.
Yeah, that's my plan. It's going to be like a little studio down there when I get done in one corner because I've got me a little wood burning stove and going to hang some of my pretty old tools and stuff up behind me. And
Is there anything you want to talk about for your audience?
oh no, I'm good. Just whatever you want. It's been fun so far.
We obviously go to church together. Can you talk a little bit about kind of what your all's role in the church is and why do you think it's important? What is, I know Lakin's very active. Could you go in a little bit of detail about that for our audiences?
Yeah, me and Lakin, we went to the Inez Free Will there for several years now. I'm the clerk. I'm not a real good clerk. I'm not real good with paperwork, but I'm the clerk. And Lakin teaches Sunday school and teaches on Wednesday night at youth group. And then she cleans the church. And I'm a trustee at the church, which I don't really, they never did tell me exactly what all that entails, but I guess that's, whatever it is, that's what I am.
I
And
love it.
we try to be involved in everything we can. We take our kids everything they can. And we really love it and love our church and love all the people there.
You all have been a huge blessing to that church. And I'll be honest, I'm at the point now, I'm fairly certain my son likes your wife more than he likes me.
He looks for Lakin now whenever we're there.
And Children's Church with Lakin is his favorite.
I'd say she missed a good chance when she was younger to be a teacher. She's made a great teacher. And the kids every kid that we ever around is attracted to her. She's drew to them too.
I'll be honest, I could really see Lakin doing some sort of like children's summer camp at the farm one day.
Yeah, that'd be cool. And
yeah, I could see it. I'm visualizing it, and she's gonna watch this, and she may just pick it up, buddy.
Yeah.
So appreciate you taking the time.
Oh, I appreciate you taking time to fool with me.
Buddy, your life experiences, and I've told you about this already. One of my earliest memories with you is we were in high school and driving on Turkey Creek. For anybody that watches this, if you don't know Turkey Creek, think world's deadliest roads, but add a guardrail. No, I'm kidding. It's not that bad, but it is a very curvy mountain in eastern Kentucky. And poor Jared, he was broke down with a flat tire one day. And thankfully though, is the only straight stretch on that road.
Yeah.
and I stopped to check on him, and he already had his dad, I believe, on the way with a tire. So
bad tire luck for a while. I had like 5 flat tires in 3 months.
Well, it's probably because you were like me, and we wouldn't buy new ones. We just
I just go and buy them $25 tires from the junkyard somewhere, or put a plug and keep it going.
Jared, thank you so much for joining me today and spending a little bit of time with me. I'm going to let you get back to your awesome family. You tell everybody that I said hello. You shared a ton of wisdom today, a ton of heart, and I really appreciate you being vulnerable. On previous episodes even, I've talked about how important that is, especially when it comes to mentorship. You've got to kind of take the veil down, and you get to do that every day with your students in some capacity, I'm sure. So thank you so much.
I appreciate you having me. We love you.
We love you too, brother. And for everyone listening, don't stop here. If you like what you've heard today, you found it encouraging, inspiring, you know somebody that could benefit from it, be sure to like, subscribe, and share this with all of your friends and turn on our notifications. Jared, you have a YouTube channel. Would you care to sign off for us today?
You folks make sure you like and subscribe. Hope you have a very blessed day.